Today I'm interviewing MBK, my brother's keeper. They are a duo, and they also consider themselves a movement. Moving forward, they are a Christian hip-hop group that makes some really awesome songs, and I'm really happy to interview them today. To start out with, what is MBK? What does it represent, and what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing with MBK?
Yes. MBK, first and foremost, consists of two blood brothers. We're both brothers from the same mom and same dad. Myself is DeAndre B. Doctor, and
I'm Dijon DH.
And what MBK is pretty much like a movement, man. It's we pretty much took the biblical term whenever Cain was talking to God and saying, "Am I my brother's keeper?" And we're just answering the question, "Yes, I am my brother's keeper." That's why we named ourselves MBK. It's about accountability. It's about togetherness. It's about spiritual connection. Being on the same spiritual connection. It's about whenever one is down, one is on 25%, the other one is on 100% to try to carry that person and make sure that that person gets to their destination, make sure that that person gets through the day, gets through anything. Like if something's going on, if we're struggling with a sin or anything like that, if we're struggling, period, we are so in tune spiritually to God and with each other to where we can help each other and encourage each other through Christ and point each other back to the center of all this, which is Christ Jesus.
Yeah. I think it's very important to emphasize the fact that basically there's a relationship with every Christian, not just between Christ and a person. There's also a relationship between Christians and other Christians, and I think that's been forgotten a lot in our culture, and sometimes it's kind of tough sometimes to get through this world without support, whether it be from immediate family or extended family or just other Christians. That support as a relationship is immensely important. I'm glad that you're representing that idea of I am my brother's keeper. Mother's Day was Sunday, and how does your family affect your creativity and your passion and drive to continue on?
Yeah, man, our family, just they affect us immensely. We get so much support from them. We know a lot of people who don't get supported in their endeavors. Sometimes, when you're pushing past what, other people are capable of doing or what other people have tried to do, a lot of people don't want to support you in that, because it's something outside of what, they have been able to do. Maybe they've tried and failed, or they just didn't have the courage to try, but in our case, it's the opposite. Anything that we attempt to try or put our minds to, our family is so involved, and that's not just our immediate family, that's aunts, uncles, cousins, god brothers, god sisters, it's just a whole, it's just a whole family, and one of the biggest things is our dad supported us so much when he was alive, and when he passed, we just really took that opportunity to push with the music because he was passionate for us. He just enjoyed watching us perform, watching us record music and things like that. So that was just the extra push that we used to, just really get this out, because our family enjoyed it so much. We wanted to give other families and other people the same opportunity to enjoy it. So, like I say, they really just push us to be better and push us to keep moving forward.
Yeah, the support of family is very important in any creative or Christian endeavor, extended and just your Christian family and your immediate family. Support can mean a lot. Tell us about a turning point in your faith, whether it is getting saved or just godly inspiration all of a sudden, or just a rough spot where you're lifted out by Christ. Tell us about that.
Okay, most definitely, man. It'll probably be two parts. DeAndre B. Doctor, I'll speak from my turning point, and DH will speak from his. My turning point was we grew up in church all the time. had to make sure we were at choir rehearsal, Bible study, Friday night service, and Sunday service. So it pretty much was like a routine thing. It was like it was pretty much more traditionalism rather than just, okay, we're actually going to church to fellowship and get fed. We were just kind of just going because we were made to. And so at that point, when I got my first job in high school, I was working for a casino at valet, making tips and stuff. And the same people with titles in the church, like deacons, deaconesses, ministers, missionary, so on and so forth, I would see some of those people from different churches and the church that I was going to that would be stumbling in drunk and stumbling out drunk. Some of them coming out with people who weren't their husbands or their wives, and just a lot of like different things that it looked like to me, like, man, like, okay, if you're doing all of this and you're a minister, a missionary and all this, and you're going to heaven, then I can just continuously do whatever in the world I want to do. And I'm going to go to heaven too, because I mean, at least I'm not, proclaiming something and then just doing something totally opposite. But whenever our uncle, who was in music, and he stepped away from music to become a pastor because God called him to be a pastor, he came into our lives around that same time, and he just showed us realness. He showed us transparency. He showed us that, okay, you really can be a Christian and do this thing and live it out the way that God intended it to be lived out. And you still can make mistakes, but just knowing that center is Jesus Christ and your salvation, and leaning on that rock. And it clicked for me. It was like, man, like, okay, so you really can be this. It's not, everybody's not a hypocrite. So it made me want to be a better person, want to be a better Christian, and dive into the scriptures and be better.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And to, I say, just to build off of that, like you said, we grew up in the church, and I say my situation was a little different. It's not so much that, that I had to see bad or tragic things or anything like that. Like, my story at 7 years old, I just walked up to the front of the church and told the pastor, hey, I need to be baptized. I need to be saved. I need to dedicate my life to the Lord, and that's just where I was at that point in time. I was in my scripture and everything like that. And, I talked to the pastor, told him what I wanted. And, like I say, got baptized, got saved. And I basically shut down after that, not on purpose or anything like that, but just I lacked the knowledge of where to go next, with my faith. And, around, I was like 13 or 14, and a guy was talking to him, and he asked me if I was okay with going to hell. And it kind of stunned me for a second. And then he followed it up saying, are you striving to go to heaven? And at that time, my answer was no to both questions. No, I wasn't okay with going to hell, but no, I also wasn't striving to go to heaven, and it kind of clicked for me that I was stagnant, that I was just kind of stuck in a rut. I was doing the traditional ritualistic things, going to church, paying my tithes, paying my offering, but I wasn't doing the intimate things, spending time with God privately, reading my Bible, meditating on that. And, actually trying to strive, towards heaven, strive towards the promised land, because as Christians, to be a Christian is to be Christ-like. And, my definition of that is, to be Christ-like is to strive to be perfect, which is something that we can't be. So I feel like God is challenging us to every day try to be better, because if you can never be perfect, you always have something to strive towards. So that really clicked for me, and that really got me, let's say that was my turning point. That got me changing the way I looked at Christ and looked at Christianity as a whole, and to just try to keep moving forward in that.
Yeah, very powerful. And why I always ask each artist I interview about a turning point in their faith, because I think it's important that we realize that Christian life isn't just straight cut. We're from this point, I'm a Christian, and I just keep on being that. But it's just a bunch of turning points in life, and I think it's important to elaborate. Now, what brought you to the Christian hip-hop medium for proclaiming Christ and for exerting your creativity?
Yeah, well, like my brother B. Doctor was saying earlier, we grew up in the church. We sang in the choir. Every Sunday we were part of the youth choir and whatnot. And we couldn't sing, but we could hold a note well enough to be in the choir. But we really had aspirations to do more, with music. And we knew that, singing gospel hymns just wasn't going to be our niche. So we took the love that we had for rap, and we started diving into different avenues for that. And we found Christian artists like Flame. He's one of the first Christian rap hip hop artists that we heard, and we totally fell in love with his style and his message and the things that he did. And that brought us across people like Lecrae, people like Bizzle, all these different Trip Lee, Tadashi, all the Reach Records, Cross Movement. It really, really opened our eyes to this avenue or this lane that we can get in and really progress. So we just took that love for music as a whole and we added that with, our love for Christ. And this is what came about.
Yeah, it's amazing how Christian hip hop continues to grow with people like yourselves using the creative passions and skills to further a genre, but also a message and a movement at the same time. What advice would you give a creative Christian like yourself, not just a Christian hip hop artist, but also, anyone who's out there and trying to change the world with their unique creative talents?
Well, what I would say is it would be twofold. First and foremost, is to keep Christ first. Make sure that you're communicating with him, meditating on the scriptures, meditating on him, making sure that you keep a in tune spiritual connection with Christ, because it's more than just, I know I have to pray to God. I know I have to pray to Christ. I know I have to go to church and all that type of stuff. Actually, to be a Christian it's a relationship with God and with Christ, rather than just he's your father and you do what he tells you to do. Because what I tell people a lot of times is God and Christ they don't need you to need him. He needs you to want him. Because when you want somebody, you go above and beyond to please that person. You go above and beyond because you love that person. You want to do these things. It's involuntary. It's involuntary. It's more of it's just, it comes out of you. Like, what I'm saying? We're both married and it's like, we want to please our wives. So we'll go above and beyond to show them how much we love them. And that's the same thing with God and Jesus Christ. It's like, hey, he needs you to want him, because nobody wants anybody that they have to make do stuff for them or make them love you, So have that connection with him. And the second thing is just be yourself. Be yourself and do your job well, your job or your talent or your creativity. Do it very well to the best of your ability. Practice makes perfect. And to the point to where people are so astonished by what you're doing that they have to ask you, like, what is your inspiration? What is it about you that makes you this? And then that opens up a whole conversation of why you are the way you are, why you love Christ so much. And he's the reason why you do this so good. So that would be the advice that we would give.
Yeah. And just to add on that, I just like to say, don't be afraid of being an outlier. No one's seen David until David came along. No one's seen anybody like Paul until Paul came along. Just because it's something that no one has seen or no one's quote unquote ready for, doesn't mean that you're not ready to do it. So like I say, just don't be afraid of that. Just stay true to who you are and just believe in yourself. Just know that what you have is something that God's given you, and just push it.
Yeah. How can Christians help artists like yourselves? And that was really good advice. But how can the non-creative Christians help other creative Christians excel?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with that is just to do what Christians are supposed to do. Support each other and keep each other accountable. A lot of times we kind of define Christianity. You know, we put it in a box and whatnot, you know, but you can't put God in a box. So when you put Christianity in a box, that's what you're doing. You're limiting God himself, you know, and we know that there's no limits on God. So basically what Christians need to do is just to kind of throw those traditional ideas, you know, and things like that, throw those out the window and just test the spirit by the spirit, you know, listen to the music, listen to the words, and just really look to find the God and the Jesus and the music and the different things that we're doing, you know, the different things that other Christians are doing. You know, give them a chance, give them the benefit of the doubt. It might not necessarily be what you think they should be doing, but that doesn't mean that it's not coming from a place of God, you know, a place of Christianity. So just to give support, you know, in any way that they can. And like I say, just give it a chance. I think that's the best way that they can really help just different artists like ourselves and other people.
Yeah. I'm really glad that there are a surprising amount of there's a large amount of people out there that are willing to help creative Christians and non-creative Christians either become creative or creative in the way that they reach the world. What is next for MBK as artist and as a movement?
Yeah, man. What's next for us, man, is we've been tweeting a lot about different shows that we have and new music coming out. Our biggest thing is we want to put a lot of more shows under our belt, because it's one thing to listen to the music and be touched by the music, but it's a whole different thing whenever you can show up to a show and actually have dialogue before and after the show, connect with us on a spiritual level and just on a person-to-person level, to where you can have more of an appreciation for what we do. And we have much more of an appreciation for you supporting us, because we're able to understand each other and know that each other have some of the same struggles, and know that each other are trying to strive towards the same thing. So much more shows to come. We already had dropped 2 mixtapes last year. We're doing a remixed and remastered version of the second mixtape that we dropped last year called Back With Another One, where we're taking a lot of songs, we're remixing them, and we've been working with a lot of new artists, both secular and Christian, that we have not been able to do before. And the biggest thing is our work with these different secular artists, because people look at Lecrae and Triple E and Andy Mineo, and sometimes you got people in the church that might be like, oh man, they shouldn't be doing it this way, or they shouldn't be doing it that way, you know, or why are they doing songs with Ty Dolla $ign and these different things? It's like, no, you have to understand that first of all, they're going to like kind of test the spirit by the spirit as well, like have dialogue before they even jump in the studio with these people. And also, we are called to be a light in a dark place. This world is dark. So where else are we supposed to be when we're trying to reach people outside of the church? We're trying to reach these people that are in the dark. So when we do songs with secular artists, we're not going to have them come up there and talk about crazy stuff that we're not even that we're not associating ourselves with. We're going to sit down, have dialogue with them, talk to them on a spiritual level and on a person-to-person level, and make sure that we're on the same type of wave before we even try to do something with them. So much more music to come, man, and much more shows to come, and just look out for us, man.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep track. And speaking of that, where can listeners find you online, either on social media, or where can they find your music?
Yeah, man, you can follow us on all social media outlets, which is Facebook. Our Facebook name is MBK, My Brother's Keeper. Also, you can follow us on Twitter at IAM_MBK_. That's IAM_MBK_. And also the same thing on Instagram as well. IAM_MBK_. IAM_MBK_. And just follow us on all those media outlets, man, so that you can get the newest thing. And the SoundCloud, you can go to SoundCloud as well. SoundCloud /MBK4 and life.
Okay. And I will include links below for the recorded podcast version of this interview. Thank you so much for doing this interview with me, and also thank you just for your support of me and my creative endeavors in general. And stay tuned and continue to make awesome music. I really appreciate it. And yeah, continue being my brother's keeper.
And one more thing, man. We just wanted to say, man, thank you for having us. And we always have been supporting you, man, since we first came across you on IG. We love what you're doing, man. Keep doing what you're doing. God is using you in a mighty way, man. So just keep doing what you're doing, man. And more things for you to come, man. Everybody look out for him.
Definitely.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I would never imagine being in this position a few months ago. And I feel very blessed to interview you guys and just to know guys like you. Again, that was MBK, and you can be sure to look up their music, and their last album was Back with Another One.